This is me. This is my family. This is where we're from. This is where we're actually from. You could argue this is where we're actually from. However, this is, I guess, what we identify as Black British. A fairly modern term. It had to start from somewhere. The Windrush, a generation along with others that essentially birthed this notion of identity and who I am today.
So, both our parents are born Jamaicans. My mum came in 1959 and my dad came slightly after, I think the same year. They both came for 5 years and ended up being here forever.
Growing up as a child, it was just the three of us. We had no cousins.
No, we didn't.
Here.
No.
Whereas, you know, other families had cousins, second cousins, whatsoever. It's just the three of us, and we made it work.
Yeah.
With you guys being my older cousins, it was like I had those like role models to look up to. So when I was growing up, I could always ask them questions and like guide myself through life. So yeah, I think it was definitely good that we had that.
One thing about that generation, they never let their culture go. And that's really important because you need to know who you are to be able to navigate yourself in this society. So we were brought up as a Jamaican family. We ate Jamaican food, we listened to Jamaican music.
We used to have lots of house parties then.
Lots of house parties, everybody had a party.
Loads of like Black Caribbean households had parties.
Yeah, they used to call it the bottle party. So the person who had the party would provide the food.
Yeah.
And everybody that comes brings a bottle. And you know, it was very community spirit. Now, nobody wants to have a party because nobody wants to mess their house up or nobody wants to do the cooking. You know, our traditions are dying. And by the time we get to my grandchildren, they'll be dead.
Growing up, our parents always used to have parties, house parties, so we're there, we'll be up to all hours of the night as well.
Getting put in bed.
Yeah.
Whoever's bed was upstairs.
And we're just hearing the music play, we're just there. So I feel like we've kind of carried that over now in our generation. It's not as lively as our parents' one, but we do like to have our gatherings, have our drink ups. Not as late, but we always have food. There's always food there. And it's always bring a bottle, everyone comes with their drink and everyone's merry. So I feel like we have taken that from our parents' generation.
I think because we were girls, we had it easier. I think it was a completely different experience for girls in comparison to the boys.
We came here in 1966. And it was from then that I began to see the images of racism, see the signs, no blacks, no dogs, no Irish. They only came down like towards the end of the 60s, and then it was only just no blacks.
I am very aware that I'm of lighter skin, and so I feel like the British people don't see me so much as a threat. But there was discrimination against darker skinned ladies.
Oh, I even got chased down by National Front at 12 years old. Honestly, it was, I couldn't, oh my days, and these guys, they look like early 20s, and I froze for at least a few seconds. Yeah, I thought, but I'm only 12 years old. But they were saying, come in, you black this, you black that. So, and, you know, I just put my duffel bag over the shoulder, and I ran them. I'm sure it was 1978, Enoch Powell gave the Rivers of Blood speech that's become quite infamous, yeah. He said, I say we give them all £1,000 pounds and send them back to where they're from, yeah. And then he went, otherwise it's going to be rivers of blood. And 1981, rivers of blood, it kicked off all over this country. London, Birmingham, Totsteve in Liverpool, all over. We have had enough. We had had enough, yeah. Okay, our parents, they took it because they want to get their feet under the table, yeah. But we now, the second generation, we had enough.
In one of my early jobs, I was a receptionist in an accountancy, and I got all the CVs that were coming through, which I would pass over to the partner to look at, to interview. And one particular partner, he looked at the names of the CVs, didn't read the CVs, and said no, 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 because in his eyes they were either like African or some, you know, and
They weren't British names.
They weren't British names.
Traditional British names.
Yeah. I just thought that was a real big form of discrimination.
That would have been an eye-opener.
You know? And I know that many interviews that I went on, my name's Donna, which is an English name. And I used to go on interviews, and as soon as they saw who I was, you could see the impression on their faces. So, oh, I thought it would have been a white person.
Yeah.
So in my eyes, I thought, I'm going to have to impress these people, not 100%, but 120%.
Yeah.
There's certain things that are not out there, but it's subliminal, and you can see that there's a pattern that's happening with certain people. There was an incident at my current workplace where there were certain things that was happening to a particular individual who was black, and that other individual who was white was doing exactly the same thing, but there was certain commentary and derogatory things being said to that black person openly, like it was normal. It was strange. It openly.
I was for always being marked down until they took the apprentices to tell me, oh no, the aircon lecturer is a racist. Are you that dumb? And I was like, no, he can't be, he's a neutral. And they said, all right then, we will prove it. So they made me copy the A student assignment, and he was a A student in all of the units, yeah, Welsh guy. I copy his assignment word for word. He gets an A minus, I get a C plus. So I went up to the lecturer, I said, how come I've only got a C plus? Mr. Skinner, you know, I'm getting tired of you questioning my marking system and all of that. So I went and got the Welsh guy's assignment, and I put the two of them down on his desk. I said, sir, read the opening paragraph of this one. Look, they're both the same. So why is it he's got an A minus and I've got a C plus? And I didn't say it in words, but I went, has it got anything to do with this? And he storms out of the class.
And that's why I get so cross, really cross, with people that don't appreciate that generation of people, because what they went through was not nice. You know, imagine you're looking for somewhere to live and someone saying, no Irish, no dogs, no blacks. You know, people looking at you like you're rubbish. It must have been horrendous. But what it did give them is they had a good community spirit. And that's all of that generation, you know, the Jamaicans, the St. Lucians.
So I am British, I'm not taking that away, like I'm born here, but I'm Jamaican. Like my culture, my heritage is Jamaican, Caribbean, that's what I know.
Yeah, our culture's Jamaican, so naturally you're not gonna.
Yeah.
You haven't got British culture, really.
No,
have you?
but I'm still English. I was born here.
I think we're more British now. More
Well,
British
because
because
I'm here.
yeah.
We just go the British way. We just adapt to the British way.
I do go to the pub as a British thing. I do work in a corporate environment, so you have to. But I still see myself as a descendant of Jamaica.
But sometimes you do feel like the outsider when you go back to Jamaica, probably because we've been here for so long. Our accent is British and stuff like that. So when you go back to Jamaica, people look at you as, oh, you're the English girl, you're the English girl. But they just bring you straight in. Like there's no,
They're
oh,
so
you're the
welcoming
English girl, you're on the
though.
side.
in terms of like the food,
The music,
the sun, the
everything.
music, that's what makes me feel like it's
I'm at
home.
home.
Yeah.
What I would say to my grandchildren is this. Always remember me and my opinions and the things I've taught them, and it's not a good idea to be dating out of their race. I'm not saying you can't, but it's something you have to seriously think about because you're always going to have one culture
Different
stronger
culture.
than the other.
Yeah, different cultures.
So I would say think very carefully about that.
The black and white, there seem to be mixing much easier than how it was when I was their age. So I haven't handed any of them any sort of advice. Even my grandson, it has improved, but it is still there.
Protect your culture, be proud of who you are, understand your background, and make sure you take the trips back.
And just remember your teachings from grandma and granddad. Watch what they did, which is what I did. I watched my parents. I've set a good example for you. So I'm hoping that, those things will transfer through the generations. So that's what I would say.
Don't be closed off. Be open-minded as well. I think it's nice to experience other cultures. It's good to know who you are and where you're from, but also be open-minded about other people as well.
Don't fall into the stereotype of today's society. Be who you are, be good citizens of the world. Don't forget your culture. And that's what I would say.